has won the right to rest peacefully in Texas waters.
Howdy, and for you non-Texans, hello. I'm Travis, and this is the next video in our Battleship Texas YouTube channel series thingy-mabob. In this video, we're going to talk. We're going to introduce our staff. They'll tell you who they are and what they do and how they came to be associated with the battleship. And you know, I know we intended this to be our second video, but the propeller flip was. Well, we just took the opportunity to share that with you guys because we thought it was pretty dadgum interesting. So, anyways, enjoy our staff. They're small in number, so there's not a lot of folks to get through. Keep that in mind when you start seeing and you see the work that we're doing, and you know when you follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter, and of course here. And if you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll you know keep you updated on what's going on with the ship. But there's a lot of amazing things that are happening. This group of people in this video are the ones that are making it happen. On top of these great folks, we have you know, a great number of volunteers that are really good folks who come out and help on a regular basis. And it takes this small team of staff and our big group of volunteers to really make the magic happen. And these folks are great. Again, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side of this. Hi, I'm Travis Davis.
Hi, I'm Candace Thurhill.
Hey, my name is Gabe Sheffield.
My name is Kyle McRae.
My name is Bruce Bramlett.
My name is Gregory Lynn Light.
Hello, my name is Marco Marioni.
My name is Tony Gregory.
My name is Kyle Briantis.
I'm the Chief Operating Officer and the Executive Director of the Foundation.
I am the Vice President of Visitation and Special Events at the Battleship Texas. I also kind of help with social media, kind of monitor, you know, Kyle and Gabe post, as well as the donor database, inputting all of the donations, doing the direct mail, asking people for donations, as well as, you know, monitoring the outreach opportunities. I monitor the volunteer database as well. To kind of interact with our volunteers and make sure they know where to go. Do a little bit of everything when it comes to the kind of the public-facing part.
I am an educational assistant here at the Battleship Texas.
I am the President and CEO of Battleship Texas Foundation.
I'm the Vice President of Ship Operations for Battleship Texas Foundation. The do part of that is lay out what our restoration projects are, our conservation projects, and the overall maintenance direction for the ship, and organize all the logistics and supplies and things like that to make those projects happen. So like the gun project that we're working on now, restoring the AA guns and the 6 5-inch guns, and the propeller conservation, and the conservation of both ships' bells, and conservation of the ship's silver, and then having you know working hand in hand with our engineers on the shipyard project. So the other aspect of that that's not seen, it's also handling the bulk of the admin work for this project. So making sure that documentation of the work is being done, so that well future generations know what we did to these objects, and then you know making sure that we're in compliance with the various standards that we need to follow. Yeah, I don't do very much.
I work at Battleship Texas for BTF, and there is no limitation to what we do. If you don't know what you're doing, Google it, learn it, and do it anyway.
I'm a maintenance specialist with the Battleship Texas Foundation.
I am a preservation assistant with the Battleship Texas Foundation.
And I am the maintenance supervisor for Battleship Texas Foundation. It varies on what is to be done, but it ranges from making sure the generator and compressors are good on the ship to cleaning up and fixing old guns here in RG's facility. I'm a retired senior chief, machinist mate, United States Navy.
I have my bachelor's in history from Texas Tech, as well as a master's in museum science, also from Texas Tech. And I also used to work at the Galveston Naval Museum in Galveston, where I worked as the education coordinator on the USS Stewart and the Kabbalah.
I went to welding school and I was a volunteer for a couple years.
My background is I have a degree in history from Stanford University, and I have a master's from University of Texas.
Believe it or not, I worked at Kroger for 2 years. Was not ready for this.
I am a university student. I am studying chemistry.
My background is in education and fundraising.
Well, I guess I started with the ship in January of 2007. As I came and did a hard hat tour, and then shortly after that, I started volunteering, and then later that summer, I became an intern. Then worked with the overnight program for a couple of months. Was hired on full time as a curatorial assistant and a restoration technicians. I get a real good grounding in kind of all aspects of of the operations of the ship and how things run and how things interact with each other. And then from that, I just kind of moved my way up. By like 2012, 2011. I was a maintenance supervisor, so I was helping develop the strategy for the maintenance and restoration of the ship. I was in that position from 2012 to December of 2016. And then when I left to go work for Independent Seaport Museum in Philadelphia, where I was superintendent of ships for Olympia and Bakuna. In 2019, Bruce reached out and asked if I'd like to come back and work for the foundation and work with the ship, and created this position for me. So I stepped right into that and haven't looked back since.
I have a bachelor's of science in chemistry from Texas A&M, class 17A.
I started volunteering with the ship in April of 2016, and then I got hired by BTF in November of 2019.
So I first got involved with Battleship Texas in October of 2013. I started with the overnight program. My dad brought me out and they couldn't get rid of me. So now here I am.
Net 11 years or so.
I started working for the Battleship Texas in high school. I was doing the overnight program. And when this project started, they asked me if I wanted to keep working with them. And I said yes.
10 years. I've been here 10 years.
I have been with the ship since November of 2014. I started as the program manager of the overnight program.
About 14 months.
In January 2014, as a seasonal assistant. And then that contract was supposed to go through March of 14, but it got extended through June of 14, I believe because of BTF. I came back in December of 14, became a 2, maintenance specialist 2, then a 3, then a 4, and I've been stuck with the ships for 7 years.
My best memory is probably, they always include dealing with crew members or their families. A couple that come to mind is one, Mr. Harrison. He visited in July of 2018. He's from New Mexico. He's Navajo, and he visited the ship, and he spent most of the time on the quarterdeck talking to people and telling his experiences on the ship. Another one is it was the Shea and the Taylor families. We had been in correspondence with the Taylor family, and they were triplets that served aboard the ship. And one of the sons of one of the triplets scheduled a visit to come visit on the ship. And it just so coincided with the Shea family coming to visit the ship. And the ship was closed at the time, but we went ahead and let them come aboard. And the Shea family had some documentation of their family member who served on the ship in the 30s, and we were able to add to his crew member catalog that we have. And so that was just really neat that, 2 crew member families came on the same day, and we didn't know about it. And it was just kind of neat to see them, interact and learn a little bit more about the crew and of the ship.
I have been on the Battleship Texas board since 2005. I'm the 3rd generation of my family to serve on the board. Very involved in the ship for 16 years. Before that, I used to come to the ship all the time.
Probably when the last gun came off the ship. It's pretty unique to see all the guns on a barge. And then it was unique to see them all at NRG, and it's going to be even better to see them back on the ship with a new coat of paint.
Working during phase 2, which was foaming the torpedo blisters on the ship, being a part of that was really cool. We started in the middle of summer, so it was really, really hot, and that was the worst. And we did that from the middle of summer, basically into the beginning of winter. And the days got cooler. The work was still hard, but the people that we were working with were awesome. And I've made some awesome friends.
I was going to a trip in San Diego, and me and another volunteer had been working on a 40mm gun that was frozen, and we couldn't get it loose. Then on my last workday before I left for San Diego, we managed to get it loose, and I got a great video of the gun just tumbling down.
My best memory has to be the final crew reunion. And at that time, we worked for almost a year to get ready for it. The great thing is we had 36 former crew members who came in for that final reunion. They came from 27 different states, and those were all living ones. They ranged from age 84 to 102 was the oldest. We also had countless members of family that wanted to be here, even though the former crew member had passed away in previous years, and so we were able to accommodate a lot of those folks here as well. And I think the things that jump out at me, there's so many, but one is those guys always like to stay in the Hilton Hotel over at Clear Lake, and so we made that happen. And then the morning of the reunion, we actually brought them over in limo buses, Rolling Thunder, law enforcement. They had escorts all the way, and the city of LaPorte had managed to hang a big banner right over the gate that said, "Welcome home to our heroes." Travis and a number of our staff had worked well into the night before the reunion, and we actually got the horn working on the battleship, so every time one of the limo buses pulled in, we got to lay on the horn. The entire front of the ship was loaded up with these guys that we think so much of, and just some of the highlights of that day. For the first time and the only time we've ever done this, we actually created a medal that we called the Battleship Texas Patriot Medal. These things were extremely nice. They rival what you would see coming out of the Olympic Games, and originally had planned for, Admiral McCraven to present those medals, and Admiral McCraven got caught up having to testify before Congress and couldn't come, and so on his own, he went in the studio and recorded this amazing message that we got to play for all of our crew members on a flat screen. We were also able to reach out to former President George W. Bush, and he recorded a message that we were able to play for them as well. In addition, we erected these huge tents on the shore next to the ship. Monument Inn graciously donated all that food. We literally fed hundreds of guests that day. Just a beautiful day. It was a great time for all of our guys to come home. We did a one-time custom hat for them, a polo shirt for them, and maybe the best part of it for me at a personal level was they asked that the next night they have their own private dinner at the Hilton, and they asked that if I'd come over and say a few words. And I was happy to do it. But as it turned out, when I got to the dinner, they actually all, and this is just one of my personal favorites, the crew members took turns sharing stories about things that happened that they remember when they were on the ship. And one of our guys got up and said, I was on the ship, I lied about my age, I was 17, and one day one of the officers stopped me and said, "Hey, you need to report to the captain's office." He said, so I went down there and walked in. The captain was looking down, and he was working with paperwork, and He said he never really even looked up, and he said all of a sudden, he said, "Sailor, I got a letter here. 30 years in this man's Navy, I've never seen a letter like this." He said, "This letter is from your mama, and in this letter it says that you haven't written her a single time since you've been on board the Battleship Texas. The sailor, you need to understand something. I better not get another letter like this from your mama." He said he slapped stationery and envelopes on the desk, and he said, "By the way, the postage is free." So after he finished, we got off to the side, and I said, "Look, I just got to know, did you go write your mother?" And he said, "Oh yeah, as soon as I left the captain's office." And I said, "Just curious, what did you write to your mother?" And he said, "I wrote my mother and said, 'Mama, whatever you do, do not write the captain another letter.'" And I said, "And did she write back?" And he said, "Yes." The next letter I got, the very opening of that letter said, "I won't write the captain again. I won't need to write the captain again if you make sure and write me on a regular basis." It always struck me that all of these guys have their own memories and experiences from the ship, and that they really don't want anything except that we not forget that their life was disrupted in the service they provided for the freedom that we enjoy. The only thing they ask is we don't forget that, and that we do our very best to take care of the Battleship Texas and preserve it. So that really is our mission, and I'm very, very proud to be a part of that in some way.
The 2014 crew member reunion. I mean, we worked our tails off for over a year trying to, make the ship as welcoming and as they remembered it as much as possible, and to really roll out the red carpet for them. And one way that we did this, we restored the ship's whistle. We got it hung up on the smokestack. And the night before the reunion, I mean, we're talking 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, we get the whistle up, we get air piped to it, pulling the lever, and hearing the ship speak for the first time like that in a long time was really special. And if I remember right, you know how memories can be, but if I remember right, we blew it right after midnight on March 12th. So that was really neat. And then the next day, the crew members start showing up. So we had a person stationed at the whistle controls to blow the whistle every time a crew member's bus pulled up. So every time a bus came up and the door opened, we blew the whistle for them. Then after that, we also asked that got word to the Houston Pilots Association on that day to ask them to have the ships, as they're passing by on the ship channel, blow their whistles to salute Texas on our birthdays. And as the ships would come by and blow their whistles, we had someone there that would answer the ship's with the ship's whistle in return. So answer that salute. So it was really, really neat. And to me, that's one of my, I guess, more favorite memories.
I was with the overnight program for quite a while, and we had a good crew of people who've been there for many years. And in 2019, we went to a Boy Scout event in Dallas, and there were just tons of scouts from all over the state, and they came up to our booth at our gun trailer, and so many of them remembered me and others from their time coming for an overnight on the ship. And it was just really nice to see, all these people that had come through, coming back and seeing us again.
My best memory associated with the ship is in 2014, when we had the 100th year anniversary of the commissioning of the ship, and when we had a bus full of former sailors that were on the ship, and just the exciting moment when those men stepped off the bus and boarded the ship. Many of them had not been on the ship since they had served 70 years before, and just seeing the enthusiasm of those older men who had served on the ship was really encouraging.
One of my favorite memories was this guy named Drew. I love Drew. He was a fun coworker. He was from up north, so it was more fun to make fun of his accent than it was to work with him. He, one morning, scared me while opening the ship. There's a room with 2 doors on each side, ship fitters. He opened one side. I assumed he went and opened the rest of the ship. So I went to the other side to open it. he heard my keys, was like, oh, he's coming. So he went to the door. As soon as I opened it, he scared me at 6:30 in the morning. He's lucky he didn't get hit because 6:30 in the morning, I'm not a nice person. It's okay because a month and a half later, gotta let it sink in, let him think I forgot. We were working in casemate 5. The door opens out. So you have to stay close to the door so you can get in so no visitors get in. And I got him. As soon as he opened that door, he slammed that door shut, screamed like a girl, and he didn't come inside. I was like, where's Drew? Oh, did I kill him? So I opened the door and he's sitting in the hallway leaning against the bulkhead, like had a panic attack because I just scared the life into him. That was a fun day.
Well, now you know what I have to put up with. I have to put up with really good people and work with really good people. I feel fortunate to work with these folks and our volunteers. In subsequent videos, we will do likewise interviews with some of our volunteers, and we'll tack on videos or little interviews at the end of other videos, so you can meet our full team. We have like 160 volunteers on signed up with us right now. About 30 of those are very active, and we're continuing to grow. Thank you for watching this video. Oh yeah, before you go, ring the bell, subscribe. That's the little bell button down at the bottom there, whichever side it's on, and share and like and subscribe. And if you have ideas for future videos, please let us know. But we think it was important, at least in these first few videos, to show you who we are, what we are, and why we do what we do. Thank y'all, and see y'all later.